Hello, 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 and welcome back, all of my beautiful friends from the internet. I hope you are doing splendidly wonderful on this fine Tuesday morning, or whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast, whether that be morning, evening, or night. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. It helps out so much. Now, I just want to promote again the new Spotify feature so you can answer this week's episode question by clicking the description of the episode in Spotify, and below the description you should see this week's question, and to the right is an icon that says reply, and if you reply to it, yeah, I'll see it and I can post it and you'll be notified when your response is published. So it has been just super awesome to be able to engage with all of you, and this week we actually have 7 responses. This is a reply high, so to speak, in the amount of replies that we've gotten. So this is pretty wild that we got 7 responses. So I want to thank each and every one of you for responding, and I'll kind of fly through these here. So last week's episode was what annoys the hell out of you. First one comes from Stressed Human. I hate people chewing with their mouths open. And, and Stressed Human the week before did start the lawn mowing businesses since the guy said that misogynistic stuff. You'll have to go back to the last episode in order to understand what I'm talking about. But congratulations for starting your own lawn business and getting all the lawn mowing requests, because word spreads quickly nowadays that you don't really want a misogynist mowing your lawn. It's probably gonna shrink your clientele just a bit. But yeah, chewing with the mouths open is very annoying. I still see that sometimes, and I'm like, haven't we moved past this? Hasn't this? Come on, you're an adult now. All right, let's grow up. All right. And so next one comes from McMuffin. When people say that a video game is going to be bad before it even comes out because it just looks bad. This is happening with the new Spider-Man game only because the suit looks bad. And I don't want to talk too much about this one because I don't necessarily know, but I know that some people say this, but I know that a lot of times they release those trailers and clips before the video game's even finished. So a lot of those rendered video clips and stuff aren't even really a reality of what the game is actually going to be like. And this happens a lot for movies too with the CGI. People are like, oh, this looks terrible, awful. But it's often because they're not even done the movie. They just pick random parts and trying to, get them all looking nice so they could throw them in there for a trailer. Next one comes from Mason. That one sound that one kid makes during the test at the back of the classroom. Yeah, and I don't want to annoy everybody with the actual sounds, but man, does that ever throw off your focus? You're trying to focus up, especially in college or university when you're writing an exam, like in a big exam room, and just one kid's like clicking his pen, or just like, it's like, bro, shut up. This one comes from Blah Blah. This is a little bit of an aggressive one, but it says a lot of yapping before the episode starts. So I'm sorry for taking up a little bit too much of the time in the beginning of the episode. I just am really excited that people want to reply and that they want to contribute to the episode. So maybe I might get a little excited and talk a little bit too much before the actual episode starts. So I do apologize for that. However, yeah, maybe you could be a little nicer about that. But I do appreciate the constructive criticism. All right, next one comes from Toby, your boy Toby. I actually don't know if you're boy or girl, or if you even identify as that, so I'm not going to say that. But anyways, gym girls/bros recording in gyms complaining about people being in their video for 0.00000000001 seconds and posting it on social media. I see it in r/I'm the main character all the time. That is like, the thing too for me is like I go to the gym. And that really annoys me. And there's a policy at the university gym that you're not allowed to take photos and videos. And okay, photos, it depends, man. Because if I were to do something like that, I don't think I'd be doing it in vain. But I do know that there are a lot of people who will just nonstop. Like, there's these kids who go to so I go to this university called Dalhousie in Halifax, and please don't use that information against me. But anyways, so there's the gym complex called the Dalplex. There's like this group of kids that goes like in the evening time, and you can just count on them being there, and all they do is just talk so loud and stand in front of the mirror and just flex. It's so fucking annoying. It pisses me off. So next one comes from Oscar. People who just don't even have the slightest amount of personal hygiene, plus people who leave their stuff like all over the place, like leaving everything on the floor. Yeah, there's like a time period, okay? There's a time. You can leave things on the floor and stuff like that for a time, but there's you got to pick it up, man. You got to pick it up. And the hygiene thing is really nasty. And Bill says something, even just to piggyback on the hygiene thing. People that don't wash their hands after using the restroom, and some people that wash their hands but don't dry them. Yeah, I'm guilty for that though. Because everything is just these weak fucking air drying hand things. I'm not going to stand there for a whole minute to dry my hands, okay? I'm trying to get just out of there. All right, I clean my hands. They'll dry. All right, my skin will absorb the water. So I just kind of just put it in there, and 10 seconds, 15 seconds. If it's not dry, then it's not fucking dry, and I'm going out of there. So I'm guilty of that. Sorry, Bill. But thank you all so much for your responses. I love reading these off. It's so cool to see that people are wanting to participate in the show. It's just an amazing time. So to adhere with some of the constructive criticism from blah blah, we'll head into today's episode. So today's episode comes from our favorite page on this podcast, the main Askreddit page. What is the most disturbing secret you've discovered about someone close to you? So first one comes from Doge Poop Bag. My great grandmother was married to 3 different people at the same time. The men were from different branches in the military. She was collecting all 3 of their paychecks at a time. I mean, this just sounds like a hustle. You can't do much about that, bud. If she swindled you, and she's got 3 husbands, and you, as one of the husbands, didn't figure it out for the entirety of the marriage, and yet she was also swiping the cash, then that's your fault. Okay, you just got to respect the hustle at this point. At this point, it's like, you know what? Let's. This is a fellow Sigma female. Okay, this is Sigma female moves right now. All right, next one comes from Of an Afternoon. I love that username. One night as a kid, I hear my parents having an explosive argument in their bedroom, which suddenly went quiet. The door was closed and locked. I found out during a drunk phone call from my mother that it was because she attempted to shoot my father in the face with a .303, but it didn't go off, and when she pulled the trigger, as there were no bullets, they were both horrified and just stared at each other. They're still together. Yeah. I think that's going to be that for me. This is just me, okay? I don't want to go out on a limb here, but I think just for me, in my personal sort of relationship standards, I think that just might cross the line of being a deal breaker for me. I think it's, maybe if you flashed the gun, then that would still be a deal breaker. I don't even know. This is just awful. How do you get past that? You can't just ignore that. Oh, honey, remember that one time that, we got in that argument and I was calling you all those names and I put a gun in your face. And the only reason you're not dead right now is because the gun didn't have any bullets. Remember that? Oh, good times. All right. Now, what's for dinner? Just like awful. Like, how do you even... No. That just might be crossing the line just slightly for me. Next one comes from Dallas25. Discovered that my sister stole my father's $25K Rolex not more than 24 hours after he died. I only discovered it when her and her husband made a frivolous purchase, and I wondered where they got the money since they were always broke and begging my parents for money. I got suspicious. It hit me that she might have stolen and sold the Rolex. Had the paperwork, ran a track on the sales history, and discovered it had been sold to a pawn shop down the street from where my sister lives. Went to the pawn shop, and after a bit of persuasion, got them to tell me who sold it to them, and it was my sister. Me and my mom disowned her. Yeah, guys, so I know the funeral's this weekend, but, and like, you know, I know I've never really been that involved in Dad's life or whatever, but I was just thinking I really wanted to be the last person by the casket, just because I kind of wanted to and maybe let me close it. And like, maybe we could do like a moment of like, you know, everybody kind of looks down and closes their eyes, you know, like, except for me, obviously, because like I'm the one facing the casket. But I just need that like live funeral second in the moment with Dad. Okay. And, you know, before I even ask, it's not about the Rolex, of course. I would never do something like that. But anyways, why don't we let's just make this happen. Okay? I just really need that last moment, that last second with Dad. Okay? It's just a me thing, okay? And I really would appreciate if no one watched, okay? Because if you watch this disrespectful, and Dad wouldn't want you at the fucking funeral. Okay? So just give me my moment. God. Yeah, you gotta be a pretty terrible person to do that. You gotta be pretty awful person to take your dead father's Rolex. Like, god damn it. Next one comes from Boredom Allergy. Just found out the other day that it wasn't my neighbor's dad who senselessly shot and killed my dog. It was his son, who I was close friends with. He did it on purpose. He knew how much that dog meant to me. I also found out the other day where he lives, and he's a meth head now. So I'll just let nature or the police do their thing. I think he's a lot more than just a meth head. Okay? I think that there might be some psychological issues going on here. Okay, I think in the bigger picture of things, I wouldn't just chop it down to just, oh, he's just a meth head. You know, I think there's probably a lot more going on there. If I just had to, you know, throw out a wild guess, I think there's just a bit more to read into that situation, you know? Shot and killed my dog, shot in the face. You know how meth heads get. Am I right? Yeah. You know how future meth heads get, right? Yeah, he wasn't on meth at the time, but you know how they are in the past, and then there you go. So, you know how the past people are the future people and how the stuff works. So, yeah, I'm going to have to just go on a limb and say that he was probably messed up before the meth. All right, next one comes from the Mad Irishman 327. My former wife, now ex, and I were, if you say former wife, I guess maybe you might thought that people might think she was dead, and I were having problems. I was certain she was cheating on me. I found her notes where she was figuring out and had added up how much I was worth dead. Yeah, that's how, like, this type of stuff just baffles me. It's like, yeah, let me just, you know, casually, you know, I don't really want to be with my husband anymore. So why don't I just figure out how much he's worth to me dead? What if he just like wasn't alive? How can I make money off of that? How could I exploit the death of somebody and make it look like an accident? Like, maybe just Reddit makes it seem like this is more common, but I feel like you just hear this stuff every week. How is this possible? Are there that many psychopaths out there? You have to be a psychopath to do that. Ugh. Patty Cow replies and says, I watch a lot of true crime, and life insurance is pretty high up on the list of reasons to kill a spouse until they get caught and sentenced to life without parole. Idiots. Yeah, like, how do you not think that you're going to get caught? The first person that they suspect in like almost every single murder is husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. That's the first person that they suspect. Like, how do you possibly think that you're going to get away with it? Have you never seen The First 48? Like, have you never watched a YouTube video? Have you never seen a true crime series? Like, come on. Like, you haven't, what is the, have you never seen JSC Psychology? Come on. If you haven't seen JSC Psychology, shout out to JSC Psychology, because you have to watch those videos. And if you don't know what JSC Psychology is, then how did you discover this podcast? So there we go. To continue on with the comment, the best was a woman who hired an undercover cop to kill her husband. The police set up an elaborate scene where she came home and they told her her husband was dead. She was pretending to cry and be devastated, and they asked her to come to the station. And at the station, she found out her husband was alive and well, and it was so funny to see her try to process what was going on. She still tried to maintain her innocence. She ended up getting 16 years for her stunt. Dalia DiPolito. I think I watched a YouTube video about this girl, actually. I did watch a YouTube video about this girl. Yeah, her reaction, I think it was caught on tape, like her reaction, and she's just like, what? So he's not dead? Oh, thank God. Oh my goodness, that's so great. I love him so much. All right, next one comes from Gemstar87. My mom received birthday cards with money in them for years from her parents. She kept the cards with the money in them, saving to buy a piano for sentimental reasons. My sister, who was repeatedly stolen from family members, found the collection of cards / money and took them. My mom only wanted the cards back when she realized what had happened. My sister denied everything. Fuck you, Emily. Yeah, fuck you, Emily. Yeah, that again. Piece of shit, man. POS. Like, why are you stealing from your parents from birthday cards? Like, that's just, man. Like, you gotta think. Do you think to yourself in that moment, like, yep, this is definitely rock bottom. Or if not, approaching it. It feels like I'm approaching it. All right, next one comes from Zoe Eliza 4. My coworker lets her dog hump her leg every morning until he releases. Ugh. Well, she has her coffee, which has stayed with me since I heard it. I can't think of anything else when they talk to me. Why would you even want to talk to them? Does it, like, that's why is this offer information that your coworker is just offering? Like, that is weird, okay? Just like, so what did you do this morning? Like, what's your morning routine? Just wake up, coffee, always got to get my coffee, and, maybe a bowl of cereal, and then I just let my dog come all over me, classic. And then I'm off to work. It's like, what? You let your dog, what? Come on. No. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. That's disgusting. That's horrifying. And you know what makes me mad, though? This brings me on to a larger point of, like, what pisses me off is like dog owners who don't train their dogs and just allow them to, like, jump on people, bark at anything, and just, like, hump the shit out of anyone. It's like, bro, like, if you can't take care of the animal and train it and teach it, then, bro, that's not healthy or good for that animal. You're teaching that animal to be more like a wild animal than you're teaching it how to actually function within society and behave itself and be disciplined like a person should be. You don't just go, doing that all over the house on your friend or roommate's leg. Come on, bro. That's weird. All right, next one comes from GovCheese99. Graduated boot camp and wondered why my brother wouldn't talk to me. Turns out he was fucking my ex while I was there instead of delivering my letters. Guess guilt ate him up, and he thought it was simpler to keep up the lie and not have a brother, right up until an old friend from my hometown told me what happened. Hey, Joseph, it's so great to see you. What are you doing here? I wasn't expecting you. Yeah, so listen, so basically, Liam, he's my brother, right? So basically what he said was he misses you a lot, like, so much. And so I was reading through his cards that he sent, and because I'm his brother, right, and we do that. And so I was reading through these cards that he had sent, and he's like, I think it's just honestly for the best, she's lonely. You go over and see her, and just be there for her when I can, and just give her stuff more like a thing that I can't give her. And he was telling me this. So, I mean, I think it's just only natural that we just, I fill that void, that void for you, because he just is asking me, he's just begging me practically, so do you want to just get right to it, or like, because I don't even care. Like, we could just do it right now if you want. Let's do it right now. Like, come on, bro. It's like, are you sure? Can I see the cards? No, actually, no. I threw them out. Yeah, you wouldn't even want to see them, brother stuff. Yeah. But anyways, you know how brothers are. It's just brother shit. You don't want to see that shit. Yeah, that's messed up. Your brother? That's whole childhood does nothing. All right, next one comes from Remy Rillar. My grandfather beat someone to death. Oh my God. My dad was an only child, but my grandmother was once pregnant with my dad's younger brother. When she was 6 months pregnant, someone in construction equipment ran over the car she was driving and she lost the baby. Oh, that's tough. While she was in the hospital, my grandfather found the guy and beat him to death. Wow. From what I understand, he was in jail for about a week before he was released. Apparently, he claimed temporary insanity due to the circumstances. I learned all about this 4 years ago when my brother was researching family history and asked my grandfather about it. I've always seen him as a nice little old man. That's crazy. That is insane to learn about somebody, but at the same time, I mean, kind of based. Based grandpa? Kind of a little bit based. Okay, this is a little bit based, all right? This is just, maybe it's borderline based, but it's pretty based. But you know what? I'm pretty sure there is a clause for like a crime of passion. Like, isn't that like what murder in the second degree is? Because it's not like planned. It's just kind of off the cuff. But there used to be laws about murders or crimes committed as like a crime of passion or something like that. And I feel like this would qualify for that, because somebody, I think they said they were like just drunk driver, gets into a car accident, runs into your wife's car, they lose the baby. Like, that person's obviously not a serial killer, and they're obviously not a like threatening in this sort of perpetual way inherently violent person. They may have acted violently, extremely, in the sense of murdering somebody, but for the reason is understandable. Like, think about it. Okay, if we didn't have the justice system, strip away the justice system for a second, the entire construct of a justice system. Say we're living on like in a tribal community. Okay, you're functioning on your basic human instincts, okay? In your community, in the village, a man is there, and he is just irresponsible, and he's getting messed up on whatever recreational substances and abusing them, and he's just not a great guy. He's kind of a dick, kind of an asshole. And he's riding his horse, and he runs it right into your wife or something like that. I don't even know. But just something happens, and then the wife loses the child because of that. I'm saying, in that situation, my basic human instinct would tell me I gotta do something about this. I gotta handle the situation. You know what I mean? Like, it's not far off from something that this grandpa did. Right? And I think it's only because we've got these modern day justice system stuff, and that we live in like a quote unquote like civilized society, that we sometimes can ignore our inner basic passions for this sort of stuff, and the amount that we care and what that can do to people. Right? It's only the consequences that have really changed, because it's not necessarily our feelings. Our feelings haven't changed, right? Like, you put yourself in that situation, and you're probably making the same choice. whether like back in that time. Not everyone would necessarily make that choice today, but the only reason they're not making that choice is not necessarily because they're humans have evolved in the way that they feel about those types of things, but it's only because they are just maybe they care a little bit more or a little bit more consciously aware of the consequences that may arise because of it. Because I guarantee you in that village community and people are corroborating the story and everything's, kosher with how the story goes, people in the community are going to say that you killing that person was not worth banishment. It was justified in some respect. Maybe not every community, but I'm just saying, I'm not trying to associate with this with any particular tribal community. I'm just saying, down to basic human instincts, I feel like it's more understandable. All right, next one comes from Ferk Firebeard. Found out after his death that my great uncle was a grand wizard in the KKK. Opened a chest in his attic with photos from rallies, lynchings, and burnings across all around some parts of rural Alabama. We were actually horrified by the discovery and suddenly realized why he was so negative towards his black hospice nurse, who was otherwise kind-hearted and caring with him in the family. That's awful. That's terrible. Yeah, that's up there with probably the worst news you could learn about a family member. It's murderer, KKK, and I feel like cheater's below that. Cheater's got to be below that. It's gonna be like murder, even honestly, yeah, like I'd say murderer, like serial killer type crazy person, and then it's right next to that is KKK. That's probably the hierarchy of the tier list of things you probably never want to learn ever about somebody in your family. Because even when it's in your family, it makes you feel awful, right? It makes it feel like it's, that was you, right? Oh my God. Like, even when I hear stories about my great grandparents or great grandparents who, like, my grandma will tell me stories about all the, disparaging things that my ancestors have said that she has heard, and it's awful, and you feel a sense of personal responsibility for that, even though you've never known them or existed to that time, and even your family members to your current day don't even act or don't even like remotely act like that. It just, you still feel a sense of grossness. It's like, damn, come on, because you just know it's so ridiculous and so false. Right? It just, and it makes no sense, and it's just hate for the sake of hating, and it's just, yeah, you can't help but feel a bit of that sting, you know what I mean, on yourself, right? Like that shame. It's awful. So, yeah, that's definitely up there with probably top 5, top 3 things worst things you could learn about a family member. Next one comes from Jimmy P from the Five Gala? That's okay. My brother was stealing money from my father who had dementia. This went on for a year, and I found out about it because the bank who had my father's mortgage was calling me wondering why I hadn't been paid in 6 months. My father's bank account went into the negative around this time too, and when I confronted my brother about it, he said, well, I gotta pay my bills. I was about to take control of all the accounts and make sure shit got back on track, but my father ended up in the hospital and passed away shortly after that. My brother also stole some of my inheritance too. In the end, he stole over $5,000 from his dying father. I got bills. I gotta pay. So I'll steal from my father every day. Come on, bro. That's so fucked. Like, yeah, let me just steal from my deteriorating, dying father. That makes a whole lot of sense, especially when I probably would have gotten some inheritance money anyways. Why don't we just skip that? Why don't we just go ahead and just skip that? So I'm on a timeline, okay? I'm on a very strict timeline. I don't want to make it sound like I'm insensitive to this because I'm just trying to fool around and make some jokes. But at the end of the day, that's horrible. Come on, man. You're going to steal from somebody who doesn't even probably know what money is? Come on, man. Next one comes from Starlined underscore. Like, my great grandmother had dementia, and like I knew her like my whole life. Sorry to interrupt, but from the next post, but yeah, like I knew her my whole life. My great grandmother had dementia, and I couldn't even imagine stealing from her. It's like that's gotta just be the one of the most morally reprehensible things you could do. Like yes, stealing from not only somebody who is old and it's not does like they have a lot of money, and anyways, but also the fact that they have dementia. So it's not like they're going to be able to even figure that out themselves. So that's just awful. All right, next one comes from, Starlined underscore. So my grandmother, who's been estranged from my family for a long time for a multitude of reasons, has this weird thing where she has to share food with people. Are you ordering the steak at the restaurant? Well, oh boy. She's got to order the same thing, and if she doesn't like the steak, try her drink. It's really good. Take the first bite of the chicken to let her know if it's any good. This always has really annoyed me because I hate sharing food. One day I brought it up to my mom, and she was like, oh yeah, Grandma is afraid of being poisoned. So she wants other people to try it first. So let me get this straight. Grandma thinks someone is trying to poison her, so she has me try the food first. And it makes so much sense looking back because she literally would not take a bite of anything until anything she ordered until someone else had taken the first bite. Thanks, Grandma. Yeah, why don't I just throw my offspring and their offspring under the bus? Not me. Are you kidding me? I got a long life left to live, all right, if I don't get poisoned. So the only thing standing between me and the day that I die is poison. So eat up, kids. Drink up. All right. I'm not going out like that. All right. Maybe you can. That's on you. All right. I'm not going out like that. Next one comes from Davy Pump. When my grandfather passed away, we discovered that he did not exist. His name was not in any government registry. He was a normal citizen, paid taxes, had a license and everything. Lived a long life, married to my grandmother for over 50 years, had multiple children, everything normal. Still to now, no one else knows who he really was and why he had the false name. Yeah, I'm going to have to break it to you, buddy. So about halfway through the last century, there was this thing called World War II. All right, and so in World War II, after that happened, there were a lot of the bad guys, we'll call them, the villains, we'll say, called the Nazis, all right, the Nazis. And so what a lot of the Nazis did was they came over to America and to Canada and other Western countries and just tweaked their name slightly, got their entire history erased, and well, if I had to guess, if I'm just going out on a limb here, okay, I'm just gonna extend you a helping hand, would you say? Then I think it'd have something to do with the Nazis, and getting rid of those identities, because if you're a Nazi, those pesky identities can be a real problem for you. All right, no one wants to get attached to something like that, okay? Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'm being honest, either your grandpa was like a spy or your grandpa was probably a Nazi. All right, next one comes from Local Pineapple 1930. I found out that the reason why one of my uncles didn't want to go back to Korea when he retired was that he couldn't. He was fearful for political reprisals if he didn't return, or if he tried to return. Turned out his brother was part of a group that assassinated the South Korean president back in 1979, and his own innocence was never proven. So he was in fear of getting arrested if he ever tried to go back. What a shame. Gotta love the movies, though. Gotta love the movies. He's there in spirit. Okay, he's there in spirit. He'll watch, Parasite. He's a big fan of Squid Game. He's not gonna not support South Korea, because they just won't allow him in the country. But, you gotta have the passion. All right, you gotta have the passion. Keep the passion alive. Okay, next one comes from Tink the Chi. After my husband died in 2020, I found out he had been having an affair with a 30-year-old. He was 55. She apparently aborted his baby. Everything he told me about his prior life was a lie. Second marriage for both of us. And he had been having sex with men since he was in his early 20s. To sum it up, I didn't know this man at all. We had been together 10 years and married for 6. I'm not saying that, I don't want to insinuate anything here. I'm just genuinely curious, like, how somebody hides that. How can you hide the fact that you're sleeping with men, you've had a completely different marital past, and that you're also sleeping with another younger woman who had an aborted child? Like, where do you have the time? Like, where's the time? What are you telling people? Like, why are you gone always? Why is your location never on? Even in emergency situations, like, I'm curious, like, how did these people, I mean, and honestly, I feel like if I was in the same place, like similar position, I probably would give people the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? I feel like it would take a lot to convince me, you know what, my girlfriend's probably cheating on me. I feel like I'm probably fairly oblivious to that. And I don't know if I'd pick up on the signs. I don't know if that's something I would notice right away. You know, I think it'd take me a while. I'm a pretty oblivious guy. All right, last one will come from Tickled Sick. My best friend confessed to me that he has a child as a result of a long-distance affair in another country. He has 3 kids in the U.S. and is in a toxic marriage. His wife doesn't know. Wow, that's fatherhood right there. That's a fatherhood that'll slap you right in the face. That is a lot. All right, and I think maybe you should just consider, protection. That's maybe just first thing on the list. Seems like you've already kind of maybe ignored that a couple times, but it works. It does work. It's very effective, so it's there. It's there if you need it. All right. That's going to do it for me for this episode. So thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of the Reddit Ask Us podcast. Hopefully, I'm so happy I was able to read out everyone's responses, and I'm so happy everyone did respond, and hopefully I'm taking that constructive criticism and applying it, because, I really do actually appreciate what everyone says, even if it is critical, because I think it helps make the show better and more enjoyable for you as listeners. So thank you all so much for tuning into the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Remember, I am your host, Luke Dick. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, remember to comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. Remember, you can answer this week's Reddit question by going to the description of the episode, clicking the white icon that says reply, and replying to this week's question. I will see y'all next week. Peace out. Love you. Bye.